This is the 2022 Frontier Pro-4X. It's Nissan's off-road ready answer to the Toyota Tacoma and the Chevy Colorado. In this video, we're going to check out all the features and then put it to the test. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. For 2022, Nissan looked to the past to bring a fresh look to its Frontier midsize truck. Inspired by the 80s hard-body design, along with some very modern touches, this is a truck that just looks fantastic. The model we're testing today is the off-road ready Pro-4X Crew Cab 4x4, covered in tactical green paint. Our test vehicle includes nearly $10,000 in extras, including side rails, sport bar, spray-in bed liner, fender audio, and advanced tech packages. As you see it here, it's priced at $46,965 US, including destination. Under the hood is a 3.8-liter V6 engine. It produces up to 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to a 9-speed automatic transmission and an on-demand 4-wheel drive system with a dual-range transfer case. EPA rates this model at 17 miles to the gallon in town and 22 on the highway. Because this is an off-road ready model, it comes standard with recovery hooks, underbody protection, Bilstein off-road ready suspension, and a locking differential in the rear. The included tires here are the Hankook Dynapro AT2 All-Terrains. They are a 265/70 R17 fitment, and they are peak designated, which means that these are capable in deep snow. This Frontier has a short bed, measuring the inside. It's 57 inches long. It also has an optional sport bar, an easy step that you just push down like that. The tailgate drops with a soft fall, and we have a spray-in bed liner in addition to tons of rails to tie down your load. There's also a power socket in the back. With the optional tow hitch, which we do have here, the towing capacity is 6,720 pounds. Payload maxes out at 1,610 pounds, which is way more than the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. It's double cab in the back, which is going to be a little tight. That's not too bad. My feet are snug underneath the seat in front of me. I am 6'1", legs torso proportionate. This is where I would be sitting. And you know, this is workable. I also get a USB-C, USB-A, and a AC socket right there. Right here, I get a fold-down armrest with cup holders. It's really not bad. I mean, for a double cab. Because this has the Fender audio, it has a big old subwoofer here, which does take up some cargo space, but not a lot. We also have a bin here that is removable, which is pretty cool. If you happen to dump something, no big deal. Oh, well, this looks much nicer. It's powered up. What we have here is a refreshed Frontier. The old Frontier, it was old. It was really old. And though this new Frontier is built on the same bones as the old Frontier, they've definitely upgraded a lot of significant aspects of the vehicle. Everything from the looks on the outside to this interior, the way it handles. I mean, lots of little details that matter. And you don't always need to change complete platforms to make improvements. And I think that was Nissan's take on this new Frontier. So what do we have here? We have a steering wheel, which looks pretty nice. It's your typical Nissan steering wheel with the new logo in the middle. Now, it does not telescope. It is merely up-down, so you can adjust it a little bit. The seat on the driver's side is power. Passenger gets manual controls. The surface here is pretty nice. It's kind of leather-like. So this interior actually looks pretty modern and usable. I really like the setup here. We have a grip for the passenger in case things get really crazy. We also have these little bins that all have little removable pieces, which is really nice, and they have a little index pip. Well, that one doesn't. But they all insert really easily. Even the wireless charging pad can be removed, which is neat. Now this vehicle is equipped with the optional Fender audio system. It seems to me kind of like all the other major brands were taken, and Nissan's like, oh, we need a premium audio option. Who's left? Fender. Okay, we'll use them. I think of Fender as a manufacturer of guitars, not really of premium sound systems. So yeah, the sound's okay. It's fine. It's better than a stock system, but just a little bit. And then there's this gauge cluster, which is your typical Nissan thing. I've seen this same gauge cluster in the Altima. Here, because it's a Pro-4X, it has some red accents, so it looks a little sportier. I can flip through all sorts of detailed information pages, everything from the off-road settings, which will tell me, what's locked, what's not locked, am I in 4, am I in 2, that kind of stuff. Moving through, I get some auxiliary gauges. I get my MPGs, which currently driving around town, I'm getting about 15.9. Not great. Traffic signs, driving aids. This does come with Nissan's active safety package, which includes everything from adaptive cruise control to blind spot warning, and it even has rear cross traffic alerts and a surround view camera system, which we can see by shifting into reverse there. And furthermore, this surround view camera system, when I shift from 4 high into 4 low, got to be in neutral, it then turns into an off-road camera system, showing me my wheel angle on the side as well as a view in the front. Now, these cameras, they're pretty horrible. I mean, really, this is one of the worst looking images I've seen in a surround view camera system that I can remember. It's like watching TV wearing glasses that have been smudged with Vaseline. It is just, it's horrible. I think that smudge is a bush, I think. It's even worse at night, too. So even though it has this as a checklist feature, it's not as good as it should be here in 2022. Let's go ahead and switch this back into 4 high, and then I can go back to 2-wheel drive, and then go back into there. Oh, that was too quick. Neutral, 4 high. Switch that transfer case. Okay, 4 low. Is that neutral? Oh no, that's drive. This little shifter mechanism, it's kind of hard to feel where drive and neutral are. Go 4 high, 2-wheel drive. Now we're back in rear-wheel drive. Great. Now, the nice thing about a part-time 4-wheel drive system is that you can force it to be in 2-wheel drive, which in the case of this truck means that it's rear-wheel drive. The benefit is, of course, better economy because you have less drag on the powertrain. In the case of this truck, you're looking at 22 on the highway and 17 around town. Now in terms of AC and whatnot, you got some simple knobs here. They're pretty nicely laid out. You get a USB-C and a USB-A socket, a heated steering wheel. I also get 2 stages of heat on the seats, power windows. Yeah, this is a pretty nice little setup. Now there are a lot of extras on this vehicle. Things like this wireless charging pad are an extra cost. Some of the advanced safety features are extra, so you need to really make sure that you look at the details of a vehicle that you're looking to purchase to make sure it has the features that you want, because they really a la carte this vehicle a lot. This one does have a sunroof, speaking of a la carte, and it also has a 12-volt socket up here. Now in the infotainment, it actually looks pretty nice on its face. Gloss screen, pretty easy to read. Is it responsive? Yeah, it's responsive enough by today's standards. I would like it to be faster, but I think that goes for pretty much every vehicle made today. This is one of those systems that's not integrated into the vehicle itself. Any vehicle settings you need to do in the digital gauge cluster. So when I go to settings, all I really get here is connectivity for like the Apple CarPlay stuff, which is wired, although it does have a Wi-Fi hotspot. This, of course, does support Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Most new vehicles do today, except Tesla's. Plug this in. Would you like to use Apple CarPlay? Yes. And then I wait a moment, and boom, I get Apple CarPlay. So Apple CarPlay looks really good. I like this display. Even though it is glossy, it's not too hard to read. The reflections are bearable. I can hit a button here to instantly get that muddy surround view camera system. God, that really is awful. Let's see how the navigation works in this system. I just want to find name. Oh, what is that? Is that coffee shop? Oh, there's a coffee shop option. Okay, I like that. That's nice that there's a quick button for a coffee shop, and those are indeed coffee shops that are nearby. Okay, that's pretty good. But now let's just see if I want to see Victor's Coffee. VCTORS. Ah! ICTORS. There we go, Victor's Celtic Coffee. Nice. I recommend the Mandarin Mocha, so good. It's a pretty straightforward system. It works okay. It's not great. There are voice commands, of course.
Brand name or a category. Please say the point of interest.
Navigate to the nearest coffee shop.
Available commands are a brand name and a category. Additional commands are help, list commands, what can I say?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with that. These days, if you're not doing natural speech, you're not really doing voice commands. That was old school, and I'm not into that. Speaking of old school, Nissan doesn't go crazy with the off-road tech like Ford and Toyota do. Instead, they stick to the basics, and that's okay because the basics work. You get a 4-high, a 4-low, and a rear locker. Once you engage four-wheel drive, it locks that center transfer case, which splits torque evenly front to back, and then you can engage that rear locker. With a rear locker, you can get almost, honestly, unless you're an extreme off-roader, you can get through almost anything with just a rear locker. And they've paired those off-road tools with Bilstein off-road shocks, and in the back, we do have leaf springs with a solid axle, but for a vehicle like this, that's probably fine. So now we're going to take this onto the road. We'll see how it drives in day-to-day conditions, and then we're going to do an off-road test. Let's jump on the freeway and start this adventure. It's not bad. Of course, before we get anywhere, we need to drive on the freeway because that's pretty normal. Off-road areas aren't usually in somebody's backyard. And if they are for you, congratulations, that's awesome. Nope, most people need to drive there. So I'm going to make this drive as easy as possible by turning on the adaptive cruise control. Set, it's very easy. I've set my speed and I can then set my distance between me and the vehicle in front of me. The adaptive cruise control on this vehicle isn't the most advanced. That is, it does not have lane centering. It does have lane detection, so it will tell you if you're going over the lanes. I'll go ahead and let it do its thing. Yeah, it just gets me a notification, it vibrates the wheel, and that's basically it. So it's not going to reduce fatigue on long trips. However, the adaptive cruise control is really nice. If you hit any traffic, you're not going to have to worry about constantly starting and stopping. The vehicle will do that for you. Up to a certain point. You always have to pay attention to what's going on the road, of course. On the freeway, this is actually pretty comfortable. The seat is nice. I have good support. Not a lot of adjustments on the seat. Basically, it's just up, down, back, forward. There's no lumbar control here that I can find. Oh, nope, there's the lumbar. It's a little lever. Okay, it's old school. So they do have lumbar on the driver's side. Not on the passenger side, though. Visibility is pretty good. This is a mid-sized truck, of course. And in America, mid-sized truck means pretty big. It's a big piece of metal. It's a little breezy out today. I'm getting some wind noise on the outside, but it's not too bad. Oh, this is very pleasant. I'm enjoying driving this on the freeway more than I do the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Something about this truck is that it just looks awesome, and it looks particularly good in this tactical green. Now, of course, you're looking at this green going, haven't I seen that color before? And yeah, you probably have. It was a signature color on the Toyota TRD models just a couple years ago. Not exactly the same shade, but really close. And that has made it very popular in the off-road community, probably stemming from the TRD Pro models, and it was actually used on the FJ even before that. Unlike most other vehicles sold today, trucks included, this does not have any drive modes. Basically, the drive mode is your gas pedal foot. That'll control the mode. You want to go fast, you push it hard. You want to go slower, don't push it quite so much. Very straightforward. Now, this does have a tow mode, but we're not doing any towing today, so I'm not going to dip into that. Often a concern if you're getting a vehicle that is set up for off-road is, on the paved roads, especially windy paved roads like this one, it can be a little roly-poly because you want that softness on the rough off-road surfaces. But this one, actually, the Bilstein shocks that come on this Pro-4X are really nice, Yes, it's soft. Yes, it does roll a little bit. But, how aggressively are you going to drive this thing anyway, right? Come on. It's not like it's a Raptor or anything like that. This is like a Swiss Army knife of trucks. It can do hauling, it can do towing, but it also is capable for off-road fun. And, of course, getting there is half the adventure, even if it's a paved road. So this does have leaf spring suspension in the back. And just when I went over that bump, it really disrupted the truck. I could feel the whole thing kind of wiggling uncomfortably. So that's a downside. A lot of trucks do have leaf springs still because they are advantageous for towing and for heavy payloads. But the downside is they become disrupted very easily. You hit something at speed and the truck's kind of looking for where it wants to go next. Not the best driving experience. Also, this vehicle has like the widest turning radius of anything I've driven in a long time. This is like, I kind of feel like it's like F350 turning radius. This is pretty big. So if you want to do a U-turn, be prepared for a 2 or 3 point job because you're not fitting this in a full circle on a 2-lane road. It's just not happening. Heck, even 2-lane plus 2 shoulders. Actually, let's try that. 2-lane plus 2 shoulders. So we're on the shoulder of a 2-lane road right here. The road's right there. I pull it all the way over. Can I do it in 2 lanes? No! It takes 5 lanes to do a U-turn. That's not great. Get this turned around and try a 0 to 60. See how this thing does. Pull all the way up. And we have no modes to use, so we're just gonna floor it. 3, 2, 1, go. It's a pretty good start. 30, 40, 50, and 60 in 7.99 seconds. Almost 8 seconds, but not quite. So is that great? It's okay. It's actually not too bad, considering this is a very large chunk of metal. Now that we had some fun, let's dip into the woods and start our adventure. Man, these potholes are brutal. Oof. I kind of would like the suspension to be a little softer, but to be fair, these potholes are massive. Whoa. Normally we'd take this to our private off-road test hill, but the roads are getting redone. Still, yeah, we're actually having some major culverts put in today. So I can't take this vehicle out there, but the good news is that even though this particular forest is scheduled to be taken down for lumber, I can still access it. So we're going to go to one of our older locations that we've done some other testing in to see how well this Pro-4X performs. And we're going to test all the features. I know it's not a very big list, but we're going to test them all anyway. I'm really glad I have 17s on this thing. Oh, wow. Okay, that's rough. Of course, this Pro-4X is equipped for off-road fun in that it has underbody protection and 9.4 inches of ground clearance, which is really good. It means we can totally blast through the water. Whoa, oh, come on. That particular splash underscored one potential issue with this specific configuration of Frontier, and that is with the side running boards, you actually lose a couple inches of ground clearance on the side, which isn't actually what you always want. Personally, I would not get those side steps. I just don't find them particularly helpful, but then again, I am 6'1", so your mileage may vary. So the tires on this are, of course, all-terrains, and the good thing about all-terrain tires is they are extra rugged. They can deal with rocks better than an all-season. Also, they have deeper lugs with wider vacant spots to be able to claw through muddy terrain. Because in all-season, as soon as it hits mud, it just loads up and becomes a slick, which is not what you want in off-road conditions. You lose traction, grip, and control that way. Fun thing about going into forest roads is they're always a little bit different because, of course, they're dirt, they're rock. A lot of water comes through, a lot of snow comes through, or if they dry out, they change their personalities every time you come out here. Whereas obviously on pavement, it's just a matter of is it hot, is it cold, is it dry, is it wet? Just not as dynamic. So I find this stuff way more exciting, partially because of that. Okay, here we are. Let's pull in, and yeah. Neat thing about this particular off-road location is you can't even get in unless you have a 4low. So let's see. Let's configure this. Now I need to go into neutral, shift there, and then we'll shift down into 4low. Trail cam comes on. Put it back into drive. There we go. We're just going to crawl up. We'll see how well this does on this very first bit. And then we'll break it down as we get to the individual features right after this. First little obstacle. No big deal. Now let's try some real stuff. So this is a location where there are a number of difficult features to test out the systems of these vehicles. Not particularly difficult, but it is hard enough that we can really see how these systems respond in challenging situations, such as when power is removed off of a single wheel. We'll be able to see what the vehicle does, how it responds, what features we have to try out to get us up these little climbs. So we have used this location for other videos if you want to compare how this vehicle does versus other vehicles. We did Outback Wilderness versus Toyota 4Runner. We've also brought the Bronco out here. But do keep in mind that these hills are natural and lots of people use them. So there's a lot of deterioration. So what you might see as a road condition a year ago isn't the same as today. It's not directly applicable because of angles, depths, traction, that all varies. So right now I am in 4low, which is just the basic off-road setup. What that does is it multiplies my torque that I can put down to the wheels. Also, it gives me a much slower crawl ratio, so I can just creep on. Because the last thing you want to do is bash into a rock. Do that, you're not going to have a good day. Let's see. Only other setup thing I can really do here is change my screen. My tire pressure, by the way, is at 36. I'm not changing it because we usually test without changing tire pressures. We'll only change them if we get into an emergency situation. Okay, so wheels are straight. I'm in low, 4low. I'm in drive. I'm just going to creep forward because I'm really curious if I'm going to bump my nose on this. So far it looks pretty good. Also, we're going to answer that question right off the bat. Does this have individual wheel braking, which is basically what Toyota's A-Track system does, where it'll use individual wheels to brake a spinning wheel to put that torque back into the system. That basically can replicate the functionality of a front locker because you can't get a front locker on one of these vehicles. So let's see if the wheels chatter at all, then you'll know that it's working. So I'm just crawling forward very slowly. Oop, we got up on the berm. Hopefully we don't drag the underside. This is a long wheelbase because it's a truck. You can hear, oh wow, it's really shifting that power around. We're dragging a little, but we have underbody protection. Oh, it got up it. I didn't even need to engage the rear locker. That was spectacular. Very violent though, very violent. But Toyota's A-Track is also very violent, so nothing new there. Let's see what else we can do here. I'm a little concerned about these sidebars. They are so low, they hang down like 2 extra inches. Oh, that's close. This close to the rocks. Whew, good thing this is 9.4 and not 8.4. We would have been scraping. Now I'm expecting on this one, I'm going to need to engage that rear locker. It's possible the software can get me up it, so we'll see. So there's a big boulder in front of me. I have to watch out for that. 4-wheel drive low is engaged. Wow, that boulder's right in my wheel line. Oh man. Now because there is such a big difference with the left and right tire tracks, I'm going to have to be very, very careful with my middle because I don't want to be straddling on that. So I'm actually going to try to hug a little bit to the right. Oh my God, that camera is practically useless. So I'm straddling this line right over here. That's my wheel line because I want to kind of hug the berm a little bit. Whoa. To try to get me climb up. Okay, so I can tell already this is going to be really quite brutal on the trail itself. And I don't want to cause excess wear. So I'm going to turn on that rear locker, just hit the button and it engages. Now both rear wheels are rolling together as one. And you can already tell how much easier it makes this climb. And also, because this is a solid axle, it can really reach down and grab that traction, which is one of the most important features of any vehicle off-roading. Go slow. Ooh. Oh, grinding those sidebars. Those sidebars suck. Do not get the sidebars if you get this vehicle. They will just grind on everything. But yeah, other than those, this vehicle rocks off-road, man. This thing is great. I love it. But we're not done yet. We're also going to take it on an off-road adventure versus the prime competitor, the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. That's coming up later on this channel. So be sure to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends. We make them for you, and I hope you enjoy them. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again right here next time.